Greetings! This recording covers the lesson on data collection and analysis. To differentiate this concept from research methodologies, we refer these as research methods. At the end of this lesson, you must have differentiated among research methods in terms of collection and analysis. For clarity and common understanding, we will consider the following definitions of research methods. First is from Kroti. Research methods refer to the techniques or procedures used to gather and analyze data related to some research question or hypothesis. Similarly, from Waliman, research methods refer to the techniques used to do research. These represent the tools of the trade and provide ways to collect, sort, and analyze information to come to some conclusions. To reiterate, although other authors may refer to research methodologies, research designs, or types of research as research methods, in this lesson, we are not taking them as the same. Instead, these methods are only part of certain methodology. The choice of employing it depends on the chosen methodology guided by the identified theoretical perspective. Let us proceed on methods associated to secondary data. Secondary data are second-hand data. These were already collected and recorded by some researchers for their purpose. Secondary data could be in the following forms. First is written materials. So these refer to organizational records such as internal reports, annual reports, production records, personal data, committee reports, and minutes of meetings. These may also be communications such as emails, letters, and notes. These could also mean publications such as books, journals, newspapers, advertising copy, and government publications of all kinds. Another type of secondary data is non-written. Non-written materials include television programs, radio programs, tape recordings, videotapes, films of all types including documentary, live reporting, interviews, works of art, and historical artifacts. Also, secondary data could be survey data. Survey data refer to government census of population, employment, household surveys, economic data, organizational surveys of markets, sales, economic forecasts, and employee attitudes. For the analysis of secondary data, we could employ first content analysis. Content analysis refers to a quantitative form of analysis that consists of an examination of what can be counted in text of any form. Another method of analyzing secondary data is through data mining. Data mining refers to extracting meaningful information from the huge databases that are generated by electronic and other methods in modern businesses. It is often the starting point in decision-based research. Alternatively, meta-analysis could be employed. Meta-analysis is not the same as a literature review, as it is a statistical analysis of the accumulated data from the results of previous studies rather than a commentary and critical appraisal of the research projects and their outcomes. Now, let's proceed to the methods associated with primary data. Primary data are data collected for the first time through personal experience or evidence. The following are some data collection methods appropriate to primary data. First method is asking questions. This method is applicable in collecting both quantitative and qualitative data. Usually, it is called a survey, which means it uses a questionnaire. Questions prepared can be closed or open format. The second method is conducting interviews. Conducting interviews are more suitable for questions that require probing to obtain adequate information. It can be face-to-face, focus group, or via telephone. There are three types of interview. First is structured. It has standardized questions read out by the interviewer according to an interview schedule. Second is unstructured. It has a flexible format, usually based on a question guide, in which the format remains the choice of the interviewer, who can allow the interview to ramble in order to get insights into the attitudes of interviewee. It does not contain closed format questions. And third is semi-structured. This contains structured and unstructured sections with standardized and open-type questions. Third method is observing without getting involved. It aims to take a detached view of the phenomena and be invisible either in fact or in effect. That is, by being ignored by people or animals. It can be used for recording data about events and activities, and the nature or conditions of objects such as buildings or artifacts. It is often referred to as a survey, not to be confused with a questionnaire survey, and can range from a preliminary visual survey to a detailed survey using a range of instruments for measurement. Fourth is immersing oneself in a situation. This is based on the techniques devised by anthropologists to study social life and cultural practices of communities by immersing themselves in the day-to-day life of their subjects. It involves observation and experience in every sense of the word. Observations must be carried out in the natural setting. Fifth method is doing experiments. It aims to isolate a particular event so that it can be investigated without disturbance from its surroundings. Primarily, it aims at gaining data about causes and effects, why and when it happens, and how. It is used in many different subject areas, whether these are primarily to do with how things, such as objects, substances, and systems, interact with each other, or how people interact with things, and even how people interact with other people. And the sixth method is manipulating models or simulations. It is like an experiment that aims to isolate and simplify an event in order to inspect it in detail and gain useful data. It is different from experiment because models only provide a representation of the event, a simulation, that shows relationships between variables. It is designed to mimic a phenomenon in a form that can be manipulated in order to obtain data about the effects of the manipulations. It uses models to describe a phenomenon, to serve as a structure for organizing and analyzing data, or to explore or test a hypothesis. Now let's proceed to the commonly known quantitative data analysis. For descriptive analysis of quantitative data, we could employ frequency distributions and graphic presentation. Also, we could apply measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. A separate unit is allotted to discuss these. For inferential, we could utilize one sample tests, two sample tests, analysis of variance, linear regression and correlation, and multiple regression and correlation. Also, a separate unit is allotted for the discussion of selected inferential statistical tools. Now let us proceed with the methods associated to qualitative data. Let us start with the general steps in analyzing qualitative data, which include data reduction, data display, and conclusion drawing and verification. Data reduction is done through coding, clustering, and summarizing. Data display is through diagrams and tables, which then enables one to explore relationships and gauge the relative significance of different factors. We're not going too detailed about this. However, some relevant concepts will be presented in the succeeding slides. Preliminary analysis during data collection includes the following stages. First stage is building typologies and taxonomies. That is classification by types or properties, thereby forming subgroups within the general category at a nominal level of measurement. Second stage is pattern coding. This refers to pooling together the coded information into more compact and meaningful groupings. And third stage is preparation of interim summary. It is a provisional report in a few pages long. For the data display and analysis, graphical methods could be employed using matrices or networks. Matrices, also referred to as tables, use two-dimensional arrangements of rows and columns. They can be used to record variables such as time, levels of measurement, roles, clusters, outcomes, and effects. While networks are made up of blocks, or referred to as nodes, connected by links. Particularly useful when comparing the results of several case studies, as they permit a certain standardization of presentation, allowing comparisons to be made more easily across the cases. In addition, the following are methods for qualitative analysis of texts, documents, and discourse: interrogative insertion, problem solution discourse, membership categorization, rhetorical analysis, narrative analysis, semiotics, and discourse analysis. The following slides present other research methods. Sampling. It could be probability or non-probability. A separate unit is intended for this. For system development, the following methods may be employed: feasibility analysis, joint application development, document analysis, data, process, and system modeling, problem analysis, root cause analysis, duration analysis, activity-based costing, informal benchmarking, outcome analysis, technology analysis, activity elimination, preparing prototypes, and designing and coding. This marks the end of our lesson on data collection and analysis.